Aloha babes and bros, welcome back. This is the Macho Brochacho. I'm a Volkswagen guy and I found a Volkswagen show here in Fort Pierce, Florida. We're going to experience a Bug Bash 2024. This is apparently something that they're just getting started as like an annual event. So we're gonna see the turnout. It's bright and early. They just opened probably 15 minutes ago. And you know, always on time is the Macho Brochacho. So let's go see what's in here for right now, and let's go see if we can't get a couple of interviews. I know you know how this works. There looks to be some pretty sweet ones here already. Y'all are really gonna dig this if you're into Volkswagen, man. Let's start with the Carmen Ghia. Bug show, right? So we're gonna have to do some Volkswagen bugs. Let's go ahead and take a look at a couple examples here right now. Into a couple of different buses, but this is going to be a T3, so this is what we call a Vanagon, and this was a vehicle that was presented in 1981. The Volkswagen guys are really going to bust my balls on that one, but yeah, this is going to be one of the 80s models, and they've done pretty well with it. Let's take a peek. So as you see here, you have your hookups. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what they're for necessarily, but I know that there's like electricity and other hookups that are gonna be for inside of the vehicle. And you're gonna have the engine in the rear here. So this is where your air ducts keep the engine cool. Look at that. So up here is actually going to have a bed, which I thought was always the go-to for Westphalia. Notice you got storage throughout. Look at this. This is so vintage. Oh yeah. If you come across one of these bad boys, you better scoop it up if you're a fan. Getting harder and harder to find. In good condition anyway. This is a Volkswagen bug show, so we're obviously going to look at some more bugs. Let's go ahead and jump back into the Beetle world. Alright, so now we're going to be looking at what they call the Baja bugs, or Beetles, Baja Beetles, right? And these are legit, man. You will do some research, I'm sure. You're going, Baja, what? There's so many different Volkswagens that do these sand rails and sand dune kind of riding, and I believe it's independent suspension in the rear. This is an example of one of them. They'll typically put the tire on there just in case you're in the sand dunes somewhere and blow a tire. Look at that interior, man. These are typically pretty Spartan, which is to be expected because, I mean, you're gonna get this thing rough, tough, and dirty. And the more that I learn about these, the more I understand that the rear is typically removed because you're going to have access to that engine. So this will flip right up, immediate access to the engine. Notice you've got the rails right here. This is going to be for pure protection, right? And then of course you've got your exhaust system. I bet this thing sounds pretty nice. All right, so that is a Volkswagen Baja Bug, and man, if we don't see any more, I'm gonna be super surprised. Now let's move on to some buses, and I know that you know that I'm the #1 fan in South Florida without a bus. I've had a couple, don't get me wrong, I've had a couple, and that's what got me into this whole scene. So yeah, this one's gonna be pretty tricked out, and I'll point out a couple things along the way. These tires are typically not the go-to for such a vehicle with the horsepower that it has, but man, it is legit. This is a camping machine right here. Notice this is going to be your dressing area. You can even take a shower right in this area, I bet you. These are the window slats. These are very sought after. Look at this little rig. Just hooked it up right there. Christmas lights, baby. Hell yeah. They put the awning on this one. This is super legit, man, because the awning goes with the camping. Look at the size of that sub. This whole thing is tricked out. Look at this roof. Oh yeah. So somebody really redid this one. Looks cool. And I think they definitely use it. This would fold out into a bed. This couch, which is another reason why it's really cool. All right, y'all, let's move on to our next find. So Volkswagen clubs and Volkswagen fans in general like to have patina. Patina is whenever the paint over the course of however many years start to deteriorate, but it gives it its own specific character, its unique look, right? So that's what we're gonna look at next, is a patina car. And those that understand will definitely get the idea as to how this was all produced. It takes time, and you're not gonna be able to replicate it. So that's why you just clear coat it and then go with it. Another example of the patina car, and this one was clear coat, right? So the last one was clear coat pretty well. This one looks a little more layers of clear coat. So let's see what that looks like. So the VWs, the vintage, right? They're very similar to 911s. The parts were interchangeable. So because the parts are interchangeable, you're gonna see some Porsche parts, Porsche, on the Volkswagens. And this is a perfect example of what you can do with that and what typically owners will do, sets of wheels. The interior looks amazing. So this is Recaro interior leather, and I'm gonna tell you right now, with diamond stitch, this was not overlooked by any means whatsoever. Notice the roof, not standard. Definitely cool stuff in the options. I figured that engine would be looking like this. Wow. Air-cooled engines. So you've got air-cooled, you've got water-cooled, fuel injected, and this is an air-cooled engine, just like that bus that we saw. So these are a majority what you're gonna get with classic Volkswagens, the air-cooled, and that's actually why I'm wearing this t-shirt. All right, so this next one's gonna be a T2. So this is the second gen, right? This was from 68 until 79. Yeah, someone's gonna beat my butt. But anyway, this is the Westfalia. It's in the right color of green, right? And looks pretty original, even the interior. Looks like they're gonna have a band setting up soon, so it's pretty cool how we're able to have a conversation with the speaker system in the background. So we're gonna get as much as we can before the music because it's gonna be really tough to converse with y'all. But man, there's still more B-dubs piling in. Love it, love it. That you knew I was gonna have to stop and meet my friend.
Dave, nice to meet you.
That's right, Dave has this beautiful
76 Westfalia bus, camper bus, campmobile, combi, you name it, it's known by it. Had it for 12 years, put a little over 100,000 miles on it so far. It's been restored, the engine's been rebuilt one time, and in 23 I had it, a lot of body work and paint job done. So it looks real spiffy right now. When I got it, it looked great. Previous owner had it about 25 years in the family, and it was very selective on who would buy it. I'll tell you what I love about it. We use it. I love to go to shows, but I've taken my son to all the major league ballparks. Over the course of 4 summers, we covered all 30 ballparks. And so I'd pull him out of school the last day and pick him up in this green bus instead of him going home on the yellow bus to participate in the Treffin Run. Treffin Run is from Canada to Mexico. So it's Washington State to Oregon, California. It's all Pacific Coast Highway. It's amazing. So you meet more Volkswagen people.
in this bus.
In the bus, yeah. So
You'll know that's my dream. You'll know it.
And in 23, I drove through the 48 lower states. That was a little over 10,000 mile trip. So yeah, I enjoy riding the bus.
Absolutely, and you know what? To have a dependable engine, is what we all pray for in a vintage Volkswagen. Did you run into any issues? And if so, how did you go about it? And what power plant are you using right now?
So it's a rebuilt original 2-liter. It was fuel injected, but it's got Weber IDF 40 carburetors, twin carbs. I've had some minor hiccups, but nothing catastrophic. My son, I'm teaching him, hey, life's about little hiccups and breakdowns. Hopefully nothing catastrophic.
Absolutely.
Just deal with it as you go.
Absolutely. The whole idea for me, as y'all know, I surf, which I will be doing directly after this show. I'm trying to find my inner spiritual peace, and he's just laid it on us. No matter how bad it gets, it could always be worse. But I don't know if it's going to get any better than owning a Westfalia bus. Good on you, brother. Thank you so very much, Dave, sincerely. And we look forward to the rest of the show, and enjoy. Here we go. Let's see what we can get into next.
Yeah, keep on bussing.
Keep on bussing, brothers. Hey, since well, babes and bros, we're at a pretty prominent VW show here in South Florida. So what do you think is going to show up? Let me show you what showed up. All right, so we got a pretty special one here. Remember the T3 buses? That's the 1980 version, right? So we're going to look at the T3 bus, but it looks like it's rigged out like a Class C motorhome where you can stand up in it. I mean, bring your surfboards and let's roll, right? Let's take a look at this bad boy. Calling this a Carmen Mobile. They must have manufactured this unbeknownst to your boy here, but man, how cool is that? Sleeping quarters up top, of course. There's your burner stove and your sink. Fridge right here. And more than likely that's going to be the restroom bathroom scenario. So, how cool is this? Hubcaps. Looks as though this is going to be an early to mid 90s Mercedes-Benz, just like the Porsche wheels. You got the burner right there. You got the sink. I'm thinking this is storage, and then you've got your fridge or icebox, pop-out table, sleeping quarters. Right, so we were talking about T1s, T2s, T3 buses, right? So I think that we should take a look at a T1. This is where it all started. Let's go. So remember we were talking about a couple of different things here, right? So T1 bus, right? This T1 bus has the Porsche wheels, as we discussed, and the patina to go with it. This is a very nice example. Look at the interior of this bad boy. The seat, the pattern, this is awesome. That's where you get your AC, to my knowledge, up top. That's the vintage thought. Love it. So to go with the color of the sky, do y'all remember the Carmen Ghia that we looked at earlier, the car? It looks like we got another one here, and it's gorgeous. So this one's got, it looks like the Nassau blue paint from like a Corvette from like the 60s. But it's really, really awesomely done, and let's take a peek. So, I mean, I guess I pointed this out earlier, but the engines are typically going to be in the rear, if not all of them. Look at the size of this thing, right? This engine is going to go at a total of 50 miles an hour. What a sweet car. Volkswagen show, you never know what you're gonna find. This is a Figaro from 1991. I'm not familiar with this brand, but let's look at this car, man. Let's mix it up just a little bit, and then we'll jump back into the Volkswagen vintage style. So do y'all remember the Baja that we were talking about, right? The Baja would come in those different designs. So we're going to look at what we call a sand rail. And the sand rail is something special. If you've ever seen one in person, it's definitely worth looking at, definitely worth driving if you get the chance. Let's take a look at this one. This is gonna blow your mind. So this is going to be an example of a 68 and beyond. The ones that we looked at prior, as far as the Beetles are concerned, have different headlights. They didn't change these too much. From what I'm understanding, they didn't change them much at all for several decades. But they went ahead and changed the safety features along with the headlights and the engines. Super cool. And a V-dub is a V-dub is a V-dub, right? So let's look at this one and see why it won all these awards, because this thing is dripping with recognition. Well, babes and bros, looks like we've reached the end of the road for this particular show, but what a find. I mean, like, I have seen some of my dream V-dubs that I've never seen in person before, right? Some that I just would never even have known existed. I'm gonna be honest with you, there were certain variations of V-dub that I was like, wow, this is amazing. So we're gonna get back to surfing and having the good times, but thank you for joining me again. Like, share, subscribe. You know what, until next time, stay rad, babes and bros.